Hello, this is Ralph K. Ginorio. Welcome to the 23rd lesson in my video adaptation of my classroom lessons on the historical background to the terror atrocities of September the 11th, 2001. We are deep within the final solution to the Jewish question, Hitler's genocide against the Jews in World War II. Now, there are many stories I'm not telling. There are the stories of the hidden children of Belgium, for example, one of whom I had the honor to meet. There are the human stories of all sorts of people who experienced the Holocaust from dozens of ways. There's the story of Gerda Haas, who I worked with one summer at Bates College at the library, and she was a survivor of the Theresienstadt ghetto and of Auschwitz. I recently, this spring, was fortunate enough to bring a survivor of Auschwitz, Max Labatsky, to Shakopee Valley High School with his longtime friend, Charles Rothmehl, who is a surviving hidden child of Belgium, and also a survivor of the Soviet occupation of Lithuania, to my old high school, Shakopee Valley. Every statistical number is a human being whose existence and whose snuffing out has transformed the world of countless other human beings. How many homes were empty? How many towns and neighborhoods? Whether it was 4 or 5, 6 million people. Those are people who would never have children, never raise them, never experience the joys and sorrows of a full life, simply because they were born Jews at a time when Hitler captured the largest group of Jews in the world and squoze until as many of them as he possibly could were murdered. One life is important, of priceless value. And that is true for each of the lives that were shaped and changed, and in some cases destroyed or ended because of Hitler's final solution. The third type of camp, and the prime ultimate goal and objective of the final solution to the Jewish question, was the death camp. Now, at first there were places like Chełmno. Chełmno was a camp in Poland that was famous for using a different method than the Einsatzgruppen used. The Einsatzgruppen, the Einsatzkommandos, shot their victims. The ghettos starved and intentionally caused disease to their victims. Chełmno was more modern. What they would do is they took panel trucks and they painted interesting paintings on their side, paintings of windows and of people having parties and sipping wine and champagne, and sometimes they even had recordings that they played of people laughing and clinking glasses. What they would do is they would load Jews into the cargo portion of the panel truck, and they'd drive around for a while. Of course, what they had done is they had rerouted the exhaust from the panel truck from the open air into the closed, confined quarters of the death van. And so living Jews go into this roach motel on wheels, and dead Jews come out. Now, the reason that the final solution stands out amongst all the anti-Semitic pogroms and murders and crimes throughout history is because of what I'm about to explain as regards these gas vans. The old Russian Cossack pogrom was, woo, hot violence. The violence of drunken, orgiastic rage, rapine, murder, and death. Things Attila the Hun and Genghis Khan would have understood intimately. But in the gas vans of Chełmno, they discovered that there were problems. First off, the Jews, when they died, like any other human being, relieved their bladder and voided their intestines, and it was disgusting. you take these dead bodies out and they're covered with dreck and they're covered with urine, and who wants to deal with that? It made it harder for the workers, even if they were capos, even if they were other Jews. It made the process less efficient. And sometimes the Jews, in their panic, would flail around and destroy the light bulb. So on every trick, you've got to take a potato and screw out the old light bulb and put in a new light bulb, so that when the next group of product arrives at the processing center, in other words, when the next group of Jews arrives to board the gas van, there is a working light bulb in the back, so that the Jews can be kept calm until the critical terminal moment. So German engineers, designers, came up with solutions. To the solution of the waste-covered bodies, it's simple. They developed a grill that the Jews would stand on. And it's the same sort of grill that you see in any pet store. The pet is suspended above the actual floor of the chamber, so that if there's any liquid or semi-solid waste, it can go through the grill. And what you do is, at the end, the workers take the dead bodies out, and most of the disgusting waste that isn't dead human flesh killed by other human beings because of ideology, that can just be hosed out. And as to the light bulb, same thing. You put a metal grill over it so they can flail all they want. They're probably not going to break it. Do you understand? It was engineers and designers sitting at their drafting tables, designing stuff to make this assembly line of death, this Taylorist, Henry Ford, efficient operation that systematized, mechanized, modernized, and industrialized murder on a scale never having been seen before. They did it cold, with their slide rules and their pencils and their pocket protectors. They did it cold, not hot. And euphemism was used to keep the designers and engineers docile at their tasks, designing solutions to unfathomable problems like that. The final solution is unique, not just because of the scale of it, but because of the feeling tone. It wasn't hot. It was cold. It wasn't rage. It was mind. How can we design an efficient assembly line that turns millions of living people into dead people in wartime efficiently, without coarsening or destroying our truest believers? The solutions to the many problems that popped up in the final solution were solved coldly and rationally, like you would design this stupid small cap. The environmentalist weenies that run the Poland Springs Company decided what was going to be in all of our interests. So here we have the choke-ready cap of the Poland Springs Company's water bottle. It uses less plastic. For years they had their little slogan, "Less smaller cap equals less plastic." Well, really? Thank you for saying that. I never would have thought of it. Meantime, these bottles are around with these little caps that anyone with a normal-sized mouth could easily swallow and choke on and die. But it's good for the environment. And I'm stupid enough to keep buying their product. So what do I know? The Poland Springs bottle cap, the new and improved Coke, the shape of the Coke bottle, the new windshield wipers design, the new and improved products that are around us at all times are arrived at through the same process as the death vans of Chelmno. But Chelmno is not the ultimate expression of pure death camp. That's Treblinka. Treblinka, near the Lithuanian-Poland border, is a pure death camp. It's as pure as they get. It's a railroad station. It's got fenced areas to take the product off the trains and to the processing centers direct. There is just enough barrack space for your capos, your Jews that you keep alive to keep the product calm, and enough for the guards. And there's the death chamber, and there's the ovens. Jews enter through the gates, they leave through the chimney. At Treblinka, and there's a wonderful movie that you should see called Showa. If you've got 6.5 hours of time, see it all in one sitting. And it is a 6.5 hour movie documentary with the testimony of survivors. And the most powerful testimony to me in the entire film is the testimony of Abraham Bamba, the barber of Treblinka, who tells the story of how he and his family were taken from their home in northern Czech lands from Czestochowa and brought step by step to Treblinka, and how he was separated out as a barber, and how he was told, your job is to cut the hair of the women, and you cut it quickly and you cut it efficiently, and you preserve the illusion that they are going on to a labor camp. And there's a scene where he's in his barber shop, and he tells the story of people from his neighborhood and from his family who passed through. And he can't tell them. They look to him because he's a known figure. They look to him for hope. They look to him for assurance. And he can't tell them. All he can do is spend a little bit more time with them, as his loved ones, and he had a newborn child and a wife, go before his eyes and are never seen again. And he chose to live. The testimony is like nothing I've ever seen in my life. Treblinka is the ultimate death camp. Auschwitz is the Manhattan of death. It takes a scale of people from living to dead that Treblinka when the Russians took these camps at the end of the war, they found fields filled with ash and semi-burned bone and skull from the bodies of literally millions of Jews. To cremate a body is hard. We're mostly water. And at the end of the war, the crematorium crews got sloppy. They were desperate to try to avoid implication. They were desperate to try to destroy evidence. So a new name is invented for the unspeakable, the death camp, genocide. And the statement is made, never again, and that will be the subject of next video. Thank you.